Okay, so I wanted to talk about Utica, New York, and I wanted to talk about just how bad it's gotten here. Now, Utica, New York, for those who don't know, is a city near Syracuse, and Utica, New York has a giant migrant problem. Now, most of these migrants are legal. Most of these migrants that come here from Arab countries, they come here from Mexican countries, they come here from other Spanish countries. These people, some of them even coming from Asian countries. And even a very, very, very small select group of them even coming from European countries. That was more prevalent 100 years ago than it is now. When you look back at the mafia, there was a lot of scumbags coming from Italy too. But that was a long time ago. Now we're looking here in the present. We're seeing all these scumbags coming in from these different countries. And when they come into our country, they set up shops like Habu Harith Smoke Shop, which is literally 2 blocks away from me right now. They were caught selling fentanyl pills. The place is still called the same thing. It's still ran by the same people. They probably are still selling the fentanyl pills. This is at every street corner. This is literally, there's a corner store in every single part of the city. South, west, east, and north. And there's a majority of them in the east and the west. That's where the majority of the corner stores are, and that's where they came from. And there's about, I want to say altogether, there's about at least 30 corner stores in Utica, New York. At least. And that is at all times. It never ends. It never stops. We got 2 corner stores right next to each other. That's how many corner stores we have in Utica, New York. We have more corner stores than other cities do. There's other cities, like, let's say, even Syracuse, for an example. When you compare the size, if we were as big as Syracuse, if we were bigger, we'd have way more than them. We'd have way more corner stores than them. When you compare the size, now I didn't drive through every part of Syracuse. I don't know that for sure. But at least from my perspective, that's what it seems like. From what I've seen driving through Syracuse, I've never once seen a corner store near another corner store that close. Literally a block, not even a block. The corner store is, there's no houses in between. It's just a road, 2 sidewalks, and then there's a small parking lot, and then there's a gas station corner store next to another corner store that has an apartment building in it. Or it is an apartment building. It's an apartment building corner store. That's how close we have 2 corner stores in our town. It's that packed with corner stores. And all these corner stores are doing illegal activities. They're all selling loosies. And they'll sell them to kids, too. I was a kid at one time, I know. I used to be able to buy loosies from all these scumbags. My Aunt Annie was a crackhead. She used to send me to the corner store to buy loosies from these scumbags. It used to be called the Pecorello store. It used to be Italian. Until these scumbags came in here with their drugs and destroyed the place and bought the place for I think that it said that the last, online I looked it up, I think it said the last purchase was under $30,000 for a home that had a store in it and 4 family apartments. There's no way in hell that place was that cheap. Ever. They must have used drugs to buy the place. And this is what they'll do. They'll say, oh, I gave it to my friend, and he just paid me less than normal people would. they'll say it was like a gift. But in reality, the corner store guys who bought the place probably gave them $100,000 worth of crack cocaine. And at the time, it was way cheaper. So for them, it was probably worth nothing. It was probably like $10,000. Compared to now, it would be $100,000. It's very, very likely. Now, this is just a theory of mine of how they got all of our corner stores. It could have been by pure force. Maybe they stole it all. Maybe they came to the city, just beat all the Italians up, and stole all their land. Sounds very, very believable. Sounds like something that happened to the Native Americans, actually. It's definitely something that has happened in our past. It could happen again. Anyways, we look at anywhere in New York. Rochester, Buffalo, New York, Albany, Yonkers, New Rochelle, Poughkeepsie even. What's that one town, the small town? Let me find it. Oh, Newburgh? Or no, it was Beacon. Beacon, New York, even though it's a tiny town, this is the worst town in New York, allegedly. I looked it up. It's got, like, the highest crime rates or something like that. I forget. Look how tiny that is. It looks like a New Hartford, or it looks smaller than a New Hartford. But because it's near New York City, it's got a lot of scumbag criminals there. Allegedly. Now, I think Utica, New York could be just as bad or worse. Oh, I have also went to Binghamton. Binghamton is also a complete shithole, ran down, full of drug addicts, full of weird-looking people who dress weird. Like, for example, a lot of gothic type of guys who look gay. A lot of douchebag-looking people. A lot of different fucking scumbags. I've even gone through Rome, and Rome is also the same. Rome is also really, really bad. Rome also has corner stores. Rome also has drug addicts all over the place. This whole state is full of scumbag criminals. Now, I made this video because I was thinking to myself, before I made the video, I was thinking, there's really not many great places left in America. You have places like Tennessee. It seems pretty clean online. I drove through it, but I was on the highway. I didn't really get to stay. I didn't really get to get off the highway and check it out. But from the views from the highway, it looked very, very clean. Brand spanking new. It looked like a nice city. I think maybe, was it both? I think both. I think I went through Chattanooga, too. Chattanooga's also a really nice one. I forget. Actually, no, I don't think I went through I think I just looked at it on the map. But some states aren't complete shitholes. Some of them still are holding on to their values and to their freedom and to their wealth. Now, we could debate why this is. For an example, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi is full of black people, and they're destroying the states. So perhaps Tennessee noticed what was going on and tried to stop it by being more racist and being more on top of these criminals, making their cops do the jobs instead of just letting them be lazy pig bitches, actually making them go do their jobs. Like the one cop we have in Utica, New York, who put a gun up that black man's ass because he was speeding away from the cop. The cop caught him on South Street, shoved the gun up the kid's ass. It was all on video. I saw it. The video's been taken down. I don't know where the original video is, but you could hear the kid screaming, "Please stop, please, it hurts, it hurts." And there's no way a kid hides a gun up his ass. This is why you're supposed to stop for police. You dumbasses. You evil criminals. I know firsthand. I used to live with these people. I was with a black woman for over 9 years. I know how they act. They really are so vile and so evil and so disgusting that they'll force you to shove a gun up their ass. They will force you to do that. This isn't a joke. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to make you laugh. I'm being dead on serious. They will force you to shove a gun up their ass. That sounds pretty disgusting. I'm not trying to disgust you. I'm not trying to make you laugh. I'm being dead on serious. They had to shove a gun up that kid's ass. They had to. There's still evidence of the bus. It doesn't show anything about the kid's ass. If you look up gun up butt, you won't find it. But if you look up South Street arrest, you can still find the cop had to chase this criminal all the way down South Street 100 fucking miles per hour. He put all of our family's lives at risk by driving like that and not pulling over for the police. It's one thing if you're going to speed. It's a whole other thing to try to avoid the police. He's clearly a terrorist. He clearly needs a gun put up his ass. Anyways, I started this video because I was thinking, we don't really have much nice places left. I was thinking, where's the closest place? Because we want to know, where's the closest place to Utica, New York, that we could go refuge at for shelter, for safety? And I was thinking there really is practically almost none. But then I was thinking, there's places like Burlington, Vermont. Burlington, Vermont is a very white town, but it's not about white. It's not about white. It's about wealth. It's about dignity. It's about respect. It's about love for your country. It's about love for freedom. It's not about white versus black. It just seems like the majority of the blacks don't give a shit about any of those things I just listed. That's why it just seems like it's white versus black, but it's not. There are a very, very, very tiny, select few minority group of blacks who actually give a shit about this country and don't listen to gangster terrorist rap music. They actually might listen to country, or they might listen to heavy metal. They're not all listening to terrorist gangster rap music. But anyways, so I was thinking, where else near us is a safe place to refuge at? If you're on the run away from all these criminal terrorist psychopaths and you're trying to better your family and keep them safe. And I was thinking, Springfield and Hartford, Connecticut and Springfield, Massachusetts are some of the nicest cities I've ever drove through in my entire life. When I drove through, I actually got off the highway and went through one of them a little bit. Not very much, but just a little bit. And what I found was those cities were super clean. There was no graffiti. There was no garbage all over the place. There wasn't many scumbags looking terrorist guys at the corner selling drugs. It was very, very clean. It looked very, very safe. I saw cops. I saw cameras. Now, we could say it's because of the cameras and the cops. I don't know, but maybe it was worse at one point. After the invasion happened, when they came from Nigeria and invaded us, maybe it was worse in the past, around the crack pandemic when they first started to get here. I don't know for sure. One thing is for sure, they are invaders, the way they act. You look in places like Kensington Avenue, Philadelphia, for an example. One of the best examples, all the white people in Kensington Avenue, all of the white people in Kensington are on hardcore drugs. And the ones that aren't, the ones that sell the drugs, are selling them for black people and working with black people. And the black people are in charge of it all. They even operate the cartels and everything. They operate the ABZ gang. ABZ is actually a Crip gang. If you look it up, ABZ actually works with the Crips. they're actually Crips. They all get controlled by blacks at the top of the pyramid. Now, that was just Kensington Avenue. Now, let's talk about Skid Row, Los Angeles, because that's another very well-known one. I don't even know where that is on the map. Maybe near Compton, or maybe near Inglewood, or what others? I mean, if you look at Compton and Inglewood, they're on two different sides of the city. And if you know anything about the history of LA, they're both very, very dangerous neighborhoods. And also Glendale. Even Glendale's in the north. I heard a little bit about Glendale. I think I've seen in gangster films a lot about Glendale. Now, these are clean cities now. These are clean neighborhoods now. If you look on the map, at least, it looks clean. It might not be clean, but, I mean, these are cleaner than they used to be, I should have said. They're not clean. They're cleaner. They'll probably never be clean because it's such a big city. There's always gonna be one black guy hiding in the sewer system or something, avoiding the police. But if you just saw the quick photo I just showed you of Compton, it looks really, really clean now. Nothing like you would expect it in the films or expect it. Not expect it. Nothing like you would expect to see, and nothing like you would have seen in any films about how it used to be in the past. It has changed. Los Angeles is getting clean. It is getting better. We are getting rid of these terrorist invaders, and it is possible we could get rid of them all. We could absolutely get rid of them all. They're all terrorist invaders, and they're all no good, and they're all scary. They're all going to destroy us all. They're all criminals. They're all terrorists. Anyways, let's go to a park near D.C. that I drove by. And I want to show you. It looks like they took a new photo. Is that still... I can't really tell if there's still people sleeping in this park or not. But when I came through, there was people sleeping in tents in this park. How something like that could even be allowed, I don't know. Let's see if I could try looking for more dates here. It didn't look like this. I should have recorded video. I gotta come into DC again. I gotta go to DC again. I gotta prove it. I gotta prove just how bad it is. Because they're gonna hide it online. They're not gonna show anybody just how bad it is. This park was full of bums tenting in this park. You probably can't even come to this park no more. There was probably needles all over the place. Just assuming there was. I didn't get out and look. Anyways, you got bums tenting all over the city of D.C. You might not be able to prove it unless you go there. It looks clean online. On Google Maps, it looks absolutely spotless. But then you go there and you get a better look at these people. You could call them that. Anyways, I know for a fact there's people tenting in... If you look it up, people tenting, they only show you the videos of them getting rid of the tenters. They'll say, oh, look, they cleared them out. They got shot by a water cannon. Oh, poor bums. You got to feel bad for them. Oh, but they won't show you all the drugs. They won't show you them raping and beheading little kids, little boys. They won't show you any of that. No. They're just going to show you the poor little innocent bums being water cannon. Oh. That's how the media is going to portray everything because they know they're wrong. And they're on the hardcore drugs too. Because when they go to film things, these hardcore drug addicts will attack them. And when they attack them, they get them on drugs. Now, another city is Baltimore. Literally everywhere I would drive in Baltimore, like just anywhere I would drive, you'd just find tents on the side of the road. You'd find tents, like let's say right here in the middle of the street, in between the highway. I don't see any tents. There was tents all over the place. I need to go. I'm going to have to start driving again. I'm going to take a day or two off from working with my dad. Got a car now. And I'm just going to go for a drive. Because this stuff has to be documented. These people need to be caught. These people need to be proven that they're there. So that way when all the cops get called on me, I know what to do better. If every single person in this country is a terrorist except for me, and the cops are coming after me, then I have to fight for my life. Because they're trying to send me away to a psych ward when I'm the only sane fucking guy around. They got fucking tenters tenting in the middle of the road. And they're coming after me. Because I'm exposing their toxic drugs that they put in their water. Because I'm exposing them as being corrupt bastards. Because I caught them shoving a gun up somebody's ass on video. And I shared it with other people. Now they want to come after me. Now they want to lock me up for a joke I said in third person, using an alter ego on an alternative account, not even using my last name. I only used my first name. There was no proof at all of anything. They convinced my mom to let them right in, do a raid on my house, take me to my dad's house while he's sick with cancer trying to sleep, get me to go get a blank gun. They can't even shoot real bullets, so they could confiscate it for no fucking reason at all. And waste a bunch of tax dollars while they're at it. Now, when you go to cities like Baltimore, you go to any city, you look up ghettos, you look up driving through ghettos of these cities. These are the worst of the worst cities you could possibly imagine that ever could exist on planet Earth. These are worse than cities in Al-Qaeda territories. These are worse than cities in ISIS territories. These people are raping and attacking women every single second. They're stealing phones from white people, from white guys, from white boys. They're stealing bikes. They're stealing everything. These are evil, terrorist, psychopathic invaders from Nigeria. Every single one of them are Nigerian, and every single one of them are invaders. Every single one of them don't belong in America, and no one ever brought their people here. Ever. No one would ever want them to be anywhere on planet Earth. So now let's talk about Chicago, because Chicago's a known one. They're proud of Chicago. They call it Chirac now. It's that bad. They're proud of it. They're proud of what they've done to our city. They have destroyed it completely. In Chicago, there was a shooting every single day. In Chicago, there's a child getting stabbed every minute. In Chicago, it is blacks versus cartels. Black versus black. That's why they say the black on black crime is so high. It's the black mafia versus the Latin mafia. That's what it is. And they're fighting for control over slave women. Now, these women weren't slaves when the Latins were in control. Now they're all slaves. Now they're all on hardcore drugs. Now they're all being pimped out at the corners. You could find a lot of them at places like Kensington Avenue. If you look up Kensington Avenue live, just Kensington Avenue live, it'll show you all the garbage. It'll show you all the criminals. It'll show you all the prostitutes. depending on what time you go to search, they're not up at this time. They're up a little bit later. A few more hours, they start waking up. They're like a different species. They're like an animal. They've been drugged that much. They've been beaten that hard. They're like dumb animals now. That's how the gangster terrorist invaders want us to be. Like animals, just like them. Evil, disgusting, dumbed down animals. That's exactly how they want us to be. That's exactly how they want us to be. So if you look at anywhere in Chicago, from Chicago probably all the way out to Oak Brook, probably all the way out to Chicago Botanic Gardens, probably all the way down to Gary. I know Gary's really, really bad. Gary isn't even in Illinois. Gary is in Indiana. But even Gary, it's one of the worst. It's one of the worst of the worst. Now let's talk about St. Louis. St. Louis is another one they're proud of. But St. Louis isn't very... It's not that it's criminal. It's not that they've already taken over all of it. What's going on here in St. Louis is that they're just minority black. And all the buildings are abandoned, and all the businesses are collapsing, and no businesses can stay in this city, and it's just falling apart. And when you look at the airport, let's look at the airport. There's actually a town near the airport. Where was it? I think, it was right here. I believe, maybe not. There is a town right near this airport. Kinloch. It's completely abandoned. All the invaders came here. They killed all the people. All the abandoned lots are still abandoned to this day from all the destruction. Right here is where a huge fire happened, where they started a fire. They've been throwing all their garbage here like it's a literal landfill. And they claim it's a company doing it. They blamed it all on some random company. They blamed it on, I think they blamed it on the airport, or they tried to blame it on North Park, or they tried to blame it on Schnucks Distribution. Schnucks Distribution wouldn't do that. The Jews have no part in destroying society that they make tons and tons of money off of. Absolutely, they would not do that. This is a terrorist attack. This is a literal terrorist attack. And you could tell by the surrounding neighborhoods just how bad they are, just how many gangster criminal scumbags there are. I would love to come to Kinloch. I need to go to Kinloch. I need to drive through Kinloch, or if I can even get into Kinloch, or I need to, at very least, drive around it. And I need to record it all on video. And I need to share it with everyone. Any cop that tries to come after me, I need to share it with them. I need to be like, look, in Kinloch, there's gangsters shooting each other every day. In Kinloch, there's gangsters selling meth. Look, right here is a video of a gangster raping a little girl. I had to blur it out. They'd be like, we can't investigate that. So what'd you say on Facebook? I'd be like, look, they raped the little girl. They'd be like, we don't care. That's how far gone our country is. Our country is completely fallen. Every cop has a blank gun. None of them have real registered guns. None of them. No cop has a registered gun, I think. This is my thoughts. This is my opinion. I honestly believe this. I honestly remember Nash Like showing me his dad's ghost gun. His dad had a ghost gun too. And his dad's a cop. So I know firsthand experience what's going on in this country, because I used to be friends with a cop's son. I know what's going on around here. And the cop's son's mother was a crack whore. I know exactly what's going on here. You try to send me away to a psych ward, I'm going to beat your fucking ass. You soy boy little fucking bitch. You're going to wake up with a cock in your ass. And your ghost gun's going to be stolen from you. You little bitch, little soy boy. You go after fucking nobody losers. Why don't you go after the real criminals, pussy? You fucking coward-ass little bitch. Kinloch is completely destroyed by invader terrorists. Completely. They killed everybody there. They killed them all. You'll try to make up some alien conspiracy theory about the airport. You'll say, planes don't fly, man. They killed people in Kinloch because they found out the planes don't even fly. They just been knocking everybody out and put them on a tour bus, man. Yeah, sure. Honestly, that would almost be believable if I was on some LSD right now. Because they're 100,000-pound vehicles, and when you see them on Google Maps, they just don't even look real. It almost looks like they were placed there by Google. But, I mean, that's just... The aerodynamics makes them fly. That's normal. That's possible. What happened here is not normal. It's not possible. No company would ever do this to a society. But you know who would do this to society? The same guys that are in Utica, New York, they call themselves Cornhill Soldiers, and I witnessed firsthand them stealing cigarettes from me, and then they stole some phone from a random white kid. Just some random white kid just stole a phone from him. And then tried to get me to go over his house so he could get me on crack cocaine. He kept talking about crack and shit. I was like, no, I'm fine. And I don't remember him ever leaving my side, so he might have knocked me out. He might have been offended, quote unquote, because I didn't want to go over to his house and be his slave. So this is what they're really doing to us white people. All white people, too. Not just blonde hair, blue eyes. All Americans. They're doing this to Americans because they're terrorists. They could be doing this to black Americans, too. It doesn't matter that the majority of them are white. It doesn't change anything. They're doing this to us all. Oh, and the guy they blamed it on, the guy that allegedly did this all, you look at his house, I forget where it is, it's somewhere in I think it's somewhere near North Riverfront or Jennings or Belfamonte neighborhood, somewhere around here. I remember looking it up. He got caught allegedly dumping stuff over here. He was just some random guy who was dumping his stuff there because he saw everybody else dumping their stuff there. He's a meth junkie. I saw his house. You could clearly see it. I tried calling him. He has no phone number, no active phone number. His house is completely full of junk. It's where he hides his meth lab. He's just a meth junkie. Now, we could look at all the invaders, all the criminal terrorists, all the gangsters who sell the meth, and probably got him on it, and blame them and point the finger at them, before we ever point the finger at some random innocent white guy who was just trying to start a business and ended up getting taken over by blackies. Now, I want to look in Dallas, because Dallas is a southern state. It's not supposed to be like that at all. Dallas is full of bums, full of criminals. Full. If you look up Dallas crime rate, it's high. Dallas is the worst in Texas, and they're not going to be able to hide it because it's the biggest city. You can't hide that. It's obvious. It's going to be at least some, no matter what, no matter how bad the cops get against these guys. There's always going to be some of them there. Like I said about, I think it was Chicago, They're going to be hiding in the sewer systems and everything. You can't get rid of them all. You just can't get rid of them all. You could try. You could stop wasting your time on low-level criminals or guys that don't even break any laws at all. They might go 5 miles per hour over the speed limit and smoke a little pot, and that's about it. And that's only once in a blue moon. Maybe instead you could go after the real criminals, the real bad guys. Now, I want to look at Albuquerque because Albuquerque, New Mexico, is a very not well-known place. And when you look at it on the map, literally everywhere you look at it, there's mansions. Albuquerque, New Mexico is like Beverly Hills or some shit, or it's like a Hollywood. It's got nice weather, it's got nice homes, but it also has a very giant population of illegal migrants. And it also has a very giant population of bums. And I think the two are hand in hand. I think the two are related. I think the two might have something to do with each other. The bums might be the reason why there's so many illegals coming in, or the illegals might be the reason why there's so many bums. And they're destroying our economy. And they're destroying our infrastructure as well. These guys will secretly attack our roads late at night, with a pickaxe, and the next day you'll see it. You'll think that's just from bad weather. You'll think that's just from the snow, but we don't know for sure what causes the cement to just disappear like that, and then be nothing left but bricks. There's nothing left but bricks. And it just seems like somebody tore it up like that. Like maybe a plow hit it. Sure, we could blame plows too. But you could almost guarantee there's some terrorist out there doing that. There's just so many different people. Let's say New York City, for example. New York City is a perfect example. There is a person for everybody in New York City. You could find super rich Illuminati guys. You could find super poor bums. You could find anonymous guys who are hackers. You could find psychopaths, serial killers. You could find anything. Anything. Every character, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, they're all there. They're all there. It's very likely there's a guy in this city attacking our infrastructure right now as I speak. Right now. It's very, very likely. The possibility is very, very high. Now I want to look at Boston. I've never seen anything bad about Boston besides for the Boston bombing. Boston's always been a clean, good, safe city. So it makes you wonder if Boston starts to fall, what's causing it? Is it Islam? Islam's the one that bombed the marathon. And Islam controls a lot of black people. So if you think the black people are the problem, you could say it's Islam, 100%. Islam is a fucking disease. Every fucking mosque needs to be bombed. Every single one of them needs to be carpet bombed, drone striked, missile striked, anything. You could even make a homemade bomb if you gotta. If the economy's hurting that bad. You add nitrates with oxygen, I think it is. It's something really cheap. I forget exactly what it is, the chemicals. But it's legal. Anybody could buy them. Anyone can make them. You just shove it in a barrel. You make it airtight. You put a little fuse into it somehow. You glue the fuse in so it's airtight. You light the bad boy up. Once the fuse gets down to that little rubber area where it's kind of airtight, and once it ignites the flammable, highly explosive material, the fuse is gone, the fuse burns, that little hole is there, it allows the oxygen in, and because it's highly explosive, it gets in super fast, and it explodes, and that metal barrel ends up becoming metal shards, and it will fly everywhere. And that explosion, depending on how big this barrel is, can at very least explode one of the walls of the mosque. I'm not telling anybody in America to do this. I'm saying for Marines, I'm saying for the higher-ups who are going broke because their economy's collapsing and we got all these bums attacking us and we got all these terrorists coming in. And they're concerned about some guy on Facebook when they should be concerned about other things. Way worse things that there's way more of. In our little tiny city, even in Utica, it's all over the place. It's all over. And it's so obvious to see. They're listening to terrorist music. They're listening to gangster music. And not only are they listening to it, but that's all they listen to. And they love it. And they stick up for it. They will defend it in an argument. It don't matter what the lyrics are. And they'll try to defend it in many different ways. They'll try to normalize it and they'll try to even make it look like it's not that bad. They'll say, oh, that's just an artist performing art. They'll say, you're just a crazy, paranoid person. They'll say, you're smoking too much pot. They'll make themselves look like the good guys. But it ain't the pot at all. It's the fact that these criminal psychopaths have been throwing Molotovs at our police since the riots in Albany. Yes, there was Black Lives Matter riots in Albany, and they were throwing Molotov cocktails at cops. You can look this up. It's a documented fact. If they fact check it, it will be proven as a fact. Or were they Antifa thugs? Well, whatever. What's the difference? Antifa, Black Lives Matter, they were throwing Molotovs at cops. They're the same fucking thing, practically. And that was Albany, New York. Albany is literally a skip and a throwaway. Now, I want to go over to Portland, Oregon, because Portland, Oregon is a complete shithole. Oregon has decriminalized all drugs. So that means meth is decriminalized. That means if you're caught with meth, you're not considered as a criminal no more in Portland, Oregon. Wake up, kids. America has fallen. There is no America no more. Every cop has a blank gun. Every cop has a blank gun. There is no America no more. Meth is a criminal substance. If you're caught with meth, you have to be considered as a criminal and taken very seriously. They need to be caught and apprehended. They need to be arrested. These criminal scumbags. Now, if you look up Portland, Oregon ghetto, Portland, Oregon shithole, Portland, Oregon drive-through even, Portland, Oregon bums, Portland, Oregon drugs, you'll find everything you need about it. This place is the worst of the worst. It is a complete shithole dump. Everybody here is a criminal psychopath. Everyone here is no good. Everyone here needs to be locked up. The whole fucking state needs to be locked up. Anyways, I think that concludes what I had to say. There are just criminal, psychopathic, scumbag terrorists from Nigeria and from the Middle East and from Mexico, from all over, really. And they're all around us. And they're all over the place. The fact that cops even go after the little guys anymore is astounding to me. It's just astounding to me. If you get pulled over for speeding, I just don't know what the fuck is going on anymore. And if they give you I mean, maybe that's not the best example. Because they could be looking for actual criminal, psychopathic terrorists. Maybe a better example would be, if you're smoking pot, that's probably the best example. If you're smoking pot, let's say you have more than the state allows or something, it just doesn't make any sense. Maybe that's not a good example either. Because if you have more than they allow, then you could be a criminal, right? I mean, you could also be like a holistic medicine doctor. But for all we know, you could be a criminal, right? No, that is a pretty good example. If you're a holistic medicine doctor and you got too much pot in a state where it's legal and they harass you for it, I just don't know what's going on anymore. I just can't fucking make sense of what's going on in our society anymore. What the fuck is going on? This country doesn't exist anymore. Why is it called the United States? They need to change the name. It's not the United States anymore. It's the United Nazis. Or it's the United Criminal Scumbag Terrorist. It ain't. And they could change the name from the District Columbia to straight up Columbia. Straight up. Crack cocaine Columbia. Anyways, I think that concludes it. I'm going to end the video here.